Welcome to the Shipping Podcast, where I meet interesting maritime professionals sharing their passion for the shipping industry and their everyday job. I am your host. My name is Lena Gothberg. Dear Shipping Podcast lover, welcome to episode 131 with me, your host and producer, Lena Gothberg. I have been talking about changing the format of this podcast for a while now. I've been doing this for almost 5 years, and I have changed a lot of other things. Maybe not the ones that you as a listener will notice, but the logo has changed. I have an editor who is making me sound more fabulous. Hello, Jen Eats. And I have upgraded my equipment. All of it to deliver a better product to you. In the process of changing things a bit, as you probably know by now, I'm all about testing new things and changing if it isn't up to par. I realized that I have to walk the walk and not only keep talking about it. So this is a solo episode from me. More and more I get invited to speak about my journey with the Shipping Podcast, which is very encouraging and nice. As you know, I tick a lot of boxes out there. I am a woman. I am an entrepreneur. I am a startup. And I am a disruptor. And I'm not 25 years old. So I'm not ticking all the boxes for shipping, but I do it for the podcasting industry, where it's not very common with a woman podcasting about business, and definitely not a woman in my age. I started the Shipping Podcast on a gut feeling. I could see that the audio or podcasting was not used in our industry, which is very strange, as podcasting is all about storytelling, and so is the shipping industry. Another reason for me starting was that I was fed up with everyone saying, "Oh, we should do something to make ourselves heard. We really should try and get more people to understand what we do so we can be listened to by politicians and have more of an impact on the regulations that are influencing us too much." Well, you can't just talk about it, you need to do something. If you are among the loyal tribe that listens to the Shipping Podcast regularly, you might have realized that all my guests so far have had the same questions from me. The reason for that is not only that I am lazy and without fantasy. I decided to ask people the same questions just to get the different perspectives that I suspected was out there. The questions should also tell the story of the person interviewed, because I had also heard again that there will be a shortage of seafarers and we need to recruit people to that career. Adding to that, the entire maritime industry is facing the fifth industry revolution at a time when a lot of people are retiring, and we need to get the new knowledge into our industry. Things will not be done in the same way as it has for ages. It will be done in a new way. So we need to recruit people with knowledge that we haven't seen. And whilst we are on it, we can't deny half of the world's population, the women, entrance to our exciting world. So I set up some questions. For instance, how did you end up in the shipping industry? The reason for asking this is that most people I have met during my 25 years in this industry have either stumbled upon the maritime industry or inherited the family company. Honestly, we are rather bad when it comes to recruiting. We need to change that. I think I can see some forward-thinking companies taking on this challenge and realizing that they need to be where the young people are, We cannot expect anyone to come and find us. We need to find them and hang out with them. We also need to realize that what we do is really cool. I meet so many ship owners, usually family-owned small ship owners, who says, "Well, I'm only doing my job. I am minding my own business." Yes, you are, but that doesn't help when it comes to raising the profile for the industry or contributing to recruiting the next generation. You need to communicate what you do every day, 24/7. Whilst I'm all fired up, can I just say that it doesn't help with the campaign. If anyone says to you that you should do a campaign, that is like throwing your money into the sea. What we all need is an ongoing communication, never ending, by all of us about what we do. The next generation might miss your campaign because they are otherwise occupied and they don't use the same channels for communication that you do. Once again, it's all about communicating in the channels where they hang out, not when we have the time and the resources available. Therefore, I ask all my guests this question: how can the shipping industry become more visible? Most of my guests have answered that they don't know, but that I am onto something. Very few have given me an answer that we all can use. When I started the shipping podcast 5 years ago, my aim was to raise the profile of shipping and use a channel that no one had explored, and get people outside our industry to learn and get interested in what we do. However, when I take a look at the statistics, it becomes very apparent to me that it is the people within the industry that are listening to this. You are listening to each other. This podcast is downloaded in the maritime hubs around the world. I can see that. Yes, of course, it's downloaded elsewhere as well, but there is a pattern. It's downloaded in more than 165 countries around the world, 6,000 times per month. Totally incredible. I get a lot of feedback to my email address, hello@shippingpodcast.com. But I also get shout-outs on Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, LinkedIn, and on the website shippingpodcast.com. I thought it would be nice to share some of the feedback that I have received with you. When I released the first episode of this decade, number 128 with Frank Collins, I asked for your feedback. And to my surprise, it took me 3 hours to get this email from Davina in Cornwall. She writes that she doesn't think that she is a typical listener, but she is a teacher, a counselor, and a psychotherapist. So her interest is people. She began to listen to the shipping podcast a couple of years ago, but cannot remember what it was that caught her interest to be a listener of the shipping podcast. Davina thinks that I find really interesting people to talk with, and is particularly impressed at the way I have been so committed to producing episodes week after week, and she finishes off to say that she has learned so much. Mission completed. Thank you. Thank you, Davina. I wonder the same thing from time to time. I know myself, and I am stubborn, and when I believe in something, I don't give up easily. To podcast has become a passion of mine during the 5 years since I started. I have learned so much, and I have been able to meet so many interesting people that I wouldn't have done if I hadn't thrown myself into this adventure. I am a vivid podcast listener myself, And I have built a network of experts in this area so that the shipping podcast can compete with the best podcasts out there. I will not attract new listeners if I don't have high standards and follow the developments of the podcasting industry. What you hear now is an episode that is available on all podcasting platforms out there. It doesn't matter what kind of mobile phone you have, Apple or Android, or if you prefer to listen via Spotify. This podcast is available on all podcasting platforms. I hope you understand that I have gained knowledge also in these areas. Distribution of podcast. That is a different chapter in the developments to become a world-class podcaster. Captain Alison Tunick is one of my long-lasting listeners. She wants to hear about polar navigation and how that is changing things. So if anyone has a good idea who to speak to about that, please let me know. Alison is a professor at the Maine Maritime Academy in the Marine Transportation Department, and she's curious what people in all aspects of the industry are looking for from graduates of maritime academies and what role these institutes can play in the changing maritime industry. Some time ago, she was shocked when her electronic navigation students reacted strongly and negatively to a lecture on autonomous ships. The students felt angry and scared by the prospect of autonomous ships, so her question to us is, what can I offer students aspiring to drive the ships? I think we all have a responsibility here to be a bit more clear about what we mean with autonomous ships. There is a big difference between autonomous and unmanned. But I think that in the beginning we were not very clear ourselves when we were talking about autonomous ships and how we expressed ourselves. I recommend everyone curious about autonomous shipping to listen to episode 107 with Pia Meling from Masterly. She knows what she's talking about, and there is so much to learn about this. Also, I have an upcoming episode with Jörgen Karlsson from ABB Marine Sweden, where we also discuss this topic, among other things. I think I have spoken long enough now. I plan to make a solo episode every quarter. So if there is something in particular that you want me to bring up closer to the summer, please let me know. You know how to reach me. And I am like everyone else. I love feedback on my work. So drop me a line at hello@shippingpodcast.com and let me know what you think about this episode. Or let me know someone you want to listen to. Or if you want me to come and speak to your audience about this maritime startup produced by a female disruptor. I look forward to that as well. So, until the next time, from me to you, over and out.